Welcome back, Defenders. Let's start here. Yesterday was the 80th anniversary of the Yalta Conference, Putin's favorite peace deal that buried Europe behind the Iron Curtain. 80 years ago, the West betrayed an ally to Russia for the sake of peace, plunging the world into decades of Cold War that Putin yearns to revive in Ukraine today. In February of 1945, this was a meeting of the Big Three, Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin. They met in Crimea, and they basically decided to carve up Europe once the Nazis were to be defeated. And this was an epic betrayal. This was a colossal failure from the United States and the United Kingdom to allow the Russians to control half the European continent. And the biggest betrayal was to the country of Poland. The reason why World War II began, the reason why France and the United Kingdom declared war on Germany, was Germany's invasion of Poland. And when the war ended, Poland was still being occupied, this time by the Russians. So the lesson from history to be learned here is it's inappropriate for great powers, large states, to talk amongst themselves and just carve up independent sovereign nations. There will be peace talks between Trump and Putin, and Ukraine is not going to be invited. So look to history for lessons to learn from, and don't repeat disastrous mistakes. Another anniversary we should mention is this is the 6-month anniversary of Ukraine's invasion of Russia, and they're still holding on to sovereign Russian territory and the regional capital city of Suja. And the Russians have noticed this. There's a lot of frustration on Russian Telegram channels about how ineffective their military is. But how do you deny this? This war has been going on for 3 years. And for 6 months, the Ukrainian military has been occupying a part of Russia's sovereign territory. I want to read this comment on a Russian military blog. Tomorrow marks exactly 6 months since the Ukrainian armed forces invaded Kursk. The enemy still occupies a significant territory of Kursk, including the regional center of Suja. For me personally, this situation is completely inexplicable. I don't have the slightest logical explanation for what is happening. The two most important questions for me are how and why. How did this become possible, and why has this issue not been closed yet? He'll figure it out eventually that his military is incompetent and his government is corrupt. And on Kremlin State TV, they had a rare admission. They accidentally told the truth. I love it when I catch this happening. Usually I think they censor this kind of stuff out, but this made it to the broadcast. Here's another clip from Russia Media Monitor. Oleg Zaryov says Russia is advancing too slowly. I'll link the entire clip down below, but let me play for you what he said. But the question that remains, to which degree do we have to finish fighting? Here in the studio, we periodically discuss, in 2022, we were taking bigger chunks of land, all the way to the Dnipro River. This year, we're advancing 5 times faster than last year, so 2024 was better for the Russians than 2023. We're doing well, we sped it up, but if we keep moving at this speed, we need 3 years or more to liberate the Donetsk region. And that's just the Donetsk region. 30 square kilometers per day. That's purely math. If we simply hope that we'll keep moving forward at the rate of 30 kilometers per day, it won't take 100 years, but it will take a very long time. They almost never show a military map on Russian state TV because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing how little they advance every single day. 30 square kilometers? Maybe to you that sounds like a lot, but he's correct. At the rate the Russian military is going, it's going to take them another 3 full years of fighting just to take the Donetsk Oblast, just to liberate the Donbass region. This doesn't even include the city of Zaporizhia or the city of Kherson, the north bank of the river, let alone trying to get to Mykolaiv, Odessa, or Moldova. The Russians know things are bad, and they can't explain it. And things are going to get worse. Here's an interesting chart showing the frequency of daily attacks against Ukrainian forces, and the correlation between Ukraine's ongoing destruction of Russia's oil industry and Russia's daily military assaults is probably no coincidence. The rate of attacks on the front lines are going down. The daily casualty count is going down. It's down by 30 or 40% from where it was a month ago. So what's happening? And we're immediately feeling the effects of all these drone attacks on Russian oil refineries. This is a winning strategy. Ukraine has figured it out. They're committed to it. And it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop until Russia stops attacking Ukraine. Ukrainian mystery drone penetrates Russian air defense, strikes an oil depot 250 kilometers from the front lines. This is where this oil depot is located. This is what it looks like from satellite images. And here is the video of the oil depot on fire. I'll link it down below. Follow up on the previous attack I mentioned in my last video. Russia's Astrakhan gas processing plant halts operations after a Ukrainian drone attack. This gas processing plant was struck on February 3rd. And a gas odor is spreading over Astrakhan after this Ukrainian drone strike. So don't panic. Never mind this toxic gas cloud emanating from the destroyed plant that's now floating over the city. And I never see this, but I guess the mayor of this city released a video at the damaged oil processing plant. We almost never get to see the damage close up, but the Russians wanted to release this video. Let me share it with you.
Ситуация контролируется, угроз персоналу нет, экологические нормативы не нарушаются, нормы по выбросам и так далее. То есть ситуация на сегодняшний день под контролем. После проведения определения степени повреждения будут разработаны мероприятия по ремонтным работам по восстановлению. В рамках экологического мониторинга постоянно.
A little duct tape and some DW-40 and they can get this place fixed in a week? Actually, no, the article said they're expecting to shut down the plant for at least 3 months to repair it. Let's now talk about the Allies. The United Kingdom to lead the February Ramstein meeting, replacing U.S. leadership. And this is the Donald Trump era, in which U.S. leadership is going to be replaced. I don't understand why Donald Trump is attacking and alienating all of our friends and allies. But at the moment, he's kind of also attacking and alienating our enemies as well. So under Donald Trump's political philosophy, America has no friends, America has no allies, America has no interests. I disagree with that philosophy, but for the next 4 years, we need the NATO alliance and the G7 and our democratic allies to do their best, while America is off in la-la land talking about invading Greenland. So thank you to the UK for taking over the leadership at these Ramstein meetings. And this is what it has everyone in Europe concerned. US weapons aid to Ukraine is about to run out. So what are the numbers? Funds that Congress approved for weapons packages to Ukraine during the Biden administration are nearly empty, with most weapons already in Ukraine. There are still some contract deliveries that will occur over this year, but Biden did everything he could to surge about $7 billion worth of weapons his last 2 months in office. And of roughly the $45.8 billion that has been sent to a separate drawdown fund approved by Congress, only $3.8 billion, or about 8%, remains. So I do believe that Joe Biden deliberately left some money in the fund for Trump, should in the future he change his mind and want to send weapons to Ukraine. And the rumors is that Trump is considering doing this. He's just not going to tell anyone. He doesn't want to tell his own supporters if he allocates approved funds and sends weapons to Ukraine, when in reality, I want to remind everyone, this money is being spent in America. We are not giving Ukraine money. We're giving Ukraine old weapons from the 80s and 90s. We then spend this money here in America to build brand new weapons for our military. So to refuse to spend this money that Congress allocated, it would be hurting America. It would be hurting America's own defense production if the money has already been allocated. So Ukraine wants to assure the allies, yes, the United States provides about 30% of Ukraine's weapons, but domestic production covers another 40%, with the rest of the NATO alliance and G7 probably covering the other 30%. So Zelensky wants to reassure people that the Ukrainian military is doing fine right now. In response to journalists' questions in Kyiv, I emphasize that U.S. support for Ukraine has not stopped or decreased. At the moment, it continues. I'm grateful for that. Right now, we are not discussing new aid packages yet, but it's too early for that. However, we have already started communicating with the new U.S. team. Can we manage without this U.S. support? In the early days of the war, we had no choice. It was extremely difficult, and we could have lost the country. Thanks to our people, our army, and our partners, we endured. The best thing that I think NATO countries can do is stop sending weapons, and then, old weapons, and then allocate to your own defense production. Just give Ukraine money to invest in their own domestic defense production. The more that Ukraine can produce on their own, the more self-reliant they are. And they don't need the help from the United States. But Trump at the moment is still interested in Ukraine, and he's interested in securing the rare earth. And Russia noticed. Russia to Trump, back off Ukraine's rare earths. The Kremlin delivers a warning to the US president over his military aid proposal for Ukraine. So the Russians are saying, don't try and steal what we've already rightfully stolen. This is completely inappropriate for the Russians and the US government to be talking about Ukraine's trillions of untapped natural resources. It belongs to the Ukrainian people. But this is just how Trump thinks, and it's also how Putin thinks. And at the moment, they're like two dogs fighting over a piece of steak. And Ukraine is going to continue this negotiation tactic with Trump, figuring out what does Trump want? What can we give Trump to continue military aid and support from the United States? Here's another smaller idea. Ukraine is offering gas storage facilities to the United States, LNG, to boost Europe's energy security. Now that Ukraine is not importing Russian gas anymore, they have empty storage facilities, and if the United States wants to ship LNG, I assume through the Black Sea, they could unload it in Ukraine and then pipe it to, Hungary and Slovakia and Moldova or wherever. Just an idea. Ukraine is becoming creative. Dates and participants being finalized. Zelensky on the upcoming U.S. delegation visit. So retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg is going to make an appearance in Ukraine in the next 2 weeks. I don't think Donald Trump will go to Ukraine yet, but I do think at some point this year in 2025, Donald Trump is going to visit Kyiv. He might wait until after the Russians agree to something, but I do think Donald Trump at some point this year is going to go to Ukraine. And Zelensky claims that he's ready to negotiate directly with Putin if it's the only way to achieve peace. He said this on the Piers Morgan broadcast. And unfortunately, this was unwatchable. I couldn't listen to more than 10 minutes of this because the English audio dub, the translator, was so terrible. Piers Morgan has apologized, and he said he's going to re-release the interview with a better English dub of President Zelensky. Maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. But there were a lot of good lines and headlines that came from this Piers Morgan interview. Piers Morgan is a Trump supporter. He's MAGA. but he also supports Ukraine. Piers Morgan hates the Russians. I've been on his broadcast a couple times now, and I appreciate what he's trying to do to elevate Zelensky's profile at this time. So what does the Kremlin say? Kremlin calls Zelensky's readiness for Putin talks empty words. The Russians are trying to make a legal argument that they can't talk to Zelensky. Putin last week said Moscow would hold talks with Ukraine, but ruled out speaking directly with Zelensky. A decree signed by Zelensky in 2022 rules out direct talks with Putin, something Peskov pointed to on Wednesday, and that Moscow regularly highlights when asked if it is ready for talks. The Kremlin spokesman also reiterated Russia's frequent claim that Zelensky is not a legitimate president, as his 5-year mandate in office expired last year. That's because under martial law, Ukraine can't hold elections. The country's been invaded. So this is the Russians setting the groundwork for breaking any future agreements. They could say yes to something today with Zelensky in the United States or whoever. They could agree to whatever they want. And then a year from now or 2 years from now, they're going to violate that agreement and say it was not valid because Zelensky wasn't the valid president of Ukraine. It's a stupid argument, but I guess that's the best the Russians can do right now. Okay, what stupid thing did Donald Trump say today that is destroying America's reputation in the world? And the United States won't rule out using American troops to take over the Gaza Strip. This was a press conference with Donald Trump and the Prime Minister of Israel, in which Trump just said, the United States is going to take over Gaza. We're going to control it. We're going to own the Gaza Strip.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
Jobs and housing for who? For the people of the area. This came out of nowhere, and the press were asking Trump questions. What do you do with the Palestinian people of Gaza while you clear out all the buildings and develop it? And he's talking about ethnic cleansing, forcefully removing the 2 million people of the Gaza Strip, pushing them into Egypt, pushing them into Jordan, pushing them into wherever. This is the textbook definition of ethnic cleansing. This is not what the United States stands for. This is absurd, and I'm just not going to entertain this idea, that this is a brilliant idea. We will remove 2 million people from their homeland and then develop it with companies like Texas Roadhouse and make it the Riviera of the Mediterranean. This is stupid, guys. Everything he proposes is so stupid. I thought Trump voters wanted to get out of forever wars. Invading and trying to occupy Gaza will drag America into a needless war that will last for decades. I'm shocked that anyone would even debate this idiotic proposal as a serious idea. Where are the Trump voters talking about ending all these wars? When Trump wants to send the United States military into the Gaza Strip to forcefully relocate 2 million people. I think the world's 1.9 billion Muslims would have something to say about this. I think there would be a negative reaction, worse than September 11th, if Donald Trump ever starts talking about this ever again, let alone start taking steps to deploy the United States military to wipe clean the Gaza Strip. Everyone in the world is confused. Everyone in the world is outraged. The Saudi foreign ministry condemned this. The German foreign ministry condemned this. The UK foreign ministry condemned this. The French foreign ministry condemned this. The Spanish foreign ministry condemned this. The Egyptian foreign ministry condemned this. The Kremlin, the Russian foreign ministry condemned this. The Chinese foreign ministry condemned this. The Turkish foreign ministry condemned this. Hamas condemned this. The Palestinian authorities condemned this. Oh, and Iran condemned this. I don't think anything's going to come of this, guys. I don't think anyone actually supports this, aside from Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump. And this actually might be good news to my Danish viewers. I think Greenland is safe. Like, I think Donald Trump hasn't even been 2 weeks, and he's already forgotten about Greenland, and now he wants to do property development in the Gaza Strip. Nobody in the Pentagon is taking any of these ideas serious. Sure, they're scheduling meetings, and I'm sure there's some two-star generals sitting around a table just kind of laughing at each other. But Donald Trump is saying so many absurd, reckless, dangerous, idiotic things that, yeah, I think the military command structure is just going to delay and ignore him until he gets distracted and moves on to some other issue. I don't think the United States is going to invade Greenland. I think Donald Trump has already moved on. I also don't think the United States is going to take control of the Gaza Strip. And it gets worse. Time to find a new line of work. CIA sends employees offers to resign as Trump purges the federal staff. A part of the new U.S. administration house cleaning operations, intelligence officials told they'll receive 8 months' pay if they quit. So Donald Trump and Elon Musk are trying to destroy the CIA. They're trying to fire or remove everyone in the U.S. intelligence apparatus. Here's the clip from Fox News.
Fox News alert, the Wall Street Journal is reporting the CIA has reportedly just offered a buyout to its entire workforce. Everyone in the agencies telling employees late today they can quit their jobs and receive about 8 months of pay and benefits. It's a part of Trump's push to downsize the federal government.
So the United States just doesn't have foreign intelligence collecting capability anymore? This is Elon Musk's doing. Elon Musk right now is trying to destroy the United States to help Russia and China. The biggest victor of Donald Trump coming back to office is China. It gets worse. According to the New York Times, the CIA sent the White House an unclassified email listing all employees hired by the spy agency over the last 2 years to comply with an executive order to shrink the federal workforce. One former agency officer called the reporting of the names in an unclassified email a counterintelligence disaster. It included, this email, a large crop of young analysts and operatives who were hired specifically to focus on China, and whose identities are usually closely guarded because Chinese hackers are constantly seeking to identify them. If you are an undercover agent, FBI or CIA, Elon Musk right now is trying to get you killed. He's a traitor. We have to resist, guys. Everyone watching this, everyone paying attention, everyone informed, you have to do everything you possibly can to resist this fascist, Elon Musk, from destroying our national security apparatus. People are going to die. People probably have already started dying as their names and identities have been exposed to the Chinese and Russians, let alone all of our undercover informants. These are not American citizens. These are Chinese and Russian citizens accepting money from the CIA to give us intelligence. The names and identities of all those people have probably been exposed. They're being purged right now by the CCP and the Kremlin. This is what I want to talk about, guys. This is what I wish we were talking about right now. The Russian Ministry of Defense reportedly deploys donkeys for frontline logistics. I want to make YouTube videos talking about how stupid the Russians are and share pictures of donkeys. Look at the donkeys that the Russian military is now issuing to their frontline soldiers to get artillery shells to the front lines. Here's a screenshot of a conversation between a Russian soldier and his wife. This is the translation from Natalka. I'll tell you one more piece of news. I'm shocked. We're laughing here. They're bringing us donkeys, real ones. 4 of them. I don't know how they'll divide them among us to transport shells on donkeys. Really. The order is to make a corral for them. 21st century, and we will be fighting on donkeys. Christina, really. That's brutal. We're laughing over here. Who will be the shepherd? We need to feed them hay. There are videos. I'm going to share you the videos of the donkeys that the Russians are now using on the front lines.
Новый секрет оружия Великой Российской армии. Лютый зверь подкрадывается незаметно к украинским петухам. Иди, не бойся, Анзор, Анзор. Анзором кличут. Не знаю почему. Не знаю. Зверюшка.
All of these donkeys are going to die. This is who Elon Musk is protecting. This is who Elon Musk has been fighting for the last 3 years, trying to destroy Ukraine and destroy America. We need it, guys. Let's get to the good news for Ukraine. UK pledges $69 million to boost Ukraine's resilience and grain deliveries to Syria. Thank you to the fantastic people of the United Kingdom. Italy allocates over $2 million to strengthen Ukraine's energy system. Thank you to the fantastic people of Italy. More Dutch F-16s arrive in Ukraine as France delivers its first Mirage 2000 jets. Some more F-16s. Thank you so much to the fantastic Dutch. And then the first Mirage 2000 jets from France have officially been delivered to Ukraine. It's a big deal. Thank you so much to the incredible people of France. Final clip. Once again, there was another prisoner exchange. These should be more regular and consistent. This is what the Russians have agreed to. Ukraine brings back 150 POWs from Russian captivity in a prisoner swap. Let me play for you the clip.
Саня, ты... Опять вот. Здорово. Сынок наш прошарился, как ты? Как?
Я нормально,
Спасибо, спасибо большое. Спасибо. Он тут. Где вы?
Ukraine's bravery and strength is the only thing holding up the free and democratic world right now. I didn't say this earlier in the video. I'm going to say this in every video. If you don't live in the United States and you want to help, then boycott the United States. Don't travel here. Don't vacation here. Don't spend money here. Don't buy American until Donald Trump stops attacking our allies and stops trying to destroy the America that I grew up with, the America I love. That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth. Keep defending democracy.